everybody. Welcome back to Budget Worship Leaders. My name is Rob. Welcome to the channel. We're here helping you lead better worship on a budget, helping you find the best budget-minded gear to help you with your worship team. Today I'm going to be talking mainly to guitar players. This is about the Zoom G1X 4. This is a multi-effects pedal that runs less than $120. It's got several great options. It's got a couple of downfalls on it. So first I want to talk to you about what it is. It's a multi-effects pedal. It's also an amp modeler. It does have several amp models in there. It has a built-in drum machine that'll play simple rhythms for you. It also has a tuner and a looper. The looper is about 30 seconds on this one, so it's not that long compared to some of your other budget options. But it's not a bad deal for what you're paying for it. With the build quality of it, it's got a plastic chassis. Unlike the Moore that I reviewed in the very beginning of my channel, I think it was my second video, I reviewed my Moore G100 that has a little bit sturdier of a chassis, metal chassis. But it does seem to be built pretty well. It looks like it could probably take a knock or two. The biggest thing is it absolutely will fit in a gig bag. Some of the things that it does really well is, and this is where it really sets itself apart from the competition in my eyes, is it has what's called stomp box mode. Now, I usually play my guitars through a modeler that runs directly into the soundboard. The models on this one aren't really that great that I would consider that really an option. If you're using your guitar amplifier, I've got right here in front of me, I've got my Crate, my trusty old Crate solid state amp, which doesn't have great distortion on it, but that's okay. I mainly use it just for practicing. I'll run my pedal board through it, my Pod Go. The greatest thing about this, and this is where it really sets itself apart from, say, the Moore G100, which is probably its closest competitor, is you can edit the effects chain. What that means is, like with the Moore, the volume pedal is all the way at the end of the effects chain. You can't change that. So if you drop your volume on your volume pedal, your effects get cut out, the trails get cut off. With this, on the other hand, with this Zoom, you can move and this is what I do with all of my presets, is I move the volume pedal to the very beginning of the effects chain, which means it affects how the distortion is going to come through the amp model. I tend to run the Box AC30. I'm a praise and worship guy. I live my life in the Box world. But I use that pedal not only to change the amount of distortion that goes through it, but when I let off the pedal, all the other effects are still going. So my delays and my reverbs will trail off really beautifully, and it's great for swells. As far as budget options, it's a really good swell. The other thing that this does really well as opposed to the Moore is you can hook this into your laptop. It has a very simple editing program, great graphic user interface on it. It's definitely better than trying to dial in the effects while you're using the actual unit itself, which you can still do. You can still edit your effects on the fly. But if you are one of those people that just chases a certain tone, certain effects, you can edit it on your laptop. Absolutely easier to do. Not quite as intuitive as some of the more expensive options software, but I mean, when you consider what you're paying for it, it's really not a bad deal. So if you're using your amp's tone, you have the tone that you like set in your amp, this will be a great option just to give you some delay, some reverb, some phaser, flangers, things like that. In the praise and worship world, we tend to use a lot of reverb and delay, not so much chorus or anything else like that. What it doesn't do well, it doesn't have a very good modeler setup. I'm not pleased with the modelers and how they work. The one thing that it does well in the modeler though, when you have a tube amp and you have just that edge and breakup tone, and you give it a harder strum, it'll distort a little bit more. It picks up the attack and it drives the tubes a little bit harder. That's something that it actually models fairly well, and I was pretty surprised at the quality with which it does that. But as far as the sounds of the models, I really didn't think they were that great. As far as would I recommend it, it depends on what you want to use it for. For me, I wouldn't use it for recording. I just don't think that the models are that good. The effects are okay. They're a little tough to dial in. You definitely got to spend a lot of time with them to get the effects that you want. But once you get them dialed in, it's pretty simple. You just click up, click down for which bank you want, and then you hit a button to turn it into stomp box mode, and that just works absolutely phenomenally. I'm so absolutely happy with that. And some of the built-in models are actually pretty decent, depending on what you're going for. Not really a lot that you would use with praise and worship, but there's, like, if you're a rock guitar player, there's absolutely great effects in there that'll make you sound just like Eddie Van Halen, as long as you supply the talent. So here's my Vox AC30 setup that I set with mid delay, and with the way these work and the limited DSP, you really have to set a preset for, like, I've got one for an AC30 with high gain, one for mid gain, one with low gain, and that you just click through up and down the buttons to get to that. The issue comes in where you want to add additional overdrive. So if you're using a modeler and a cabinet simulator, that only leaves you with 2 effects blocks. That'll, for praise and worship, that's most likely going to be a delay and a reverb. So you don't have the option to add another drive plus, you know, your usual effects. This thing runs out of DSP pretty fast. So I definitely recommend keeping an eye on that. It's great for playing live, not so much for recording. But let's just run through just something real quick. This is my high gain AC30 patch. Alright, so I'm going to kick the gain down just a little bit by going to my, actually I'm going to go all the way to my low gain. And this one actually probably sounds smoother, considerably smoother. The one thing I've noticed, and you probably heard it, there is a lot of hiss in this pedal. As soon as you turn up any kind of gain, it just starts hissing like crazy. And these are fairly good medium output pickups on this. Actually, they're really good medium output pickups on this guitar. So it's not just noisy pickups that you're hearing. That's just hiss from the distortion. Okay, so here's my lower gain setting. I really like this, and this is probably, to me, with low gain settings, this is where this pedal really shines. So in a nutshell, I mean, it's not a bad little piece of equipment, especially not for what you're paying for it. If you're just doing some live stuff and you just need some simple effects, it'd be absolutely great as long as you got your own equipment. Now, what I wouldn't recommend is grabbing this and thinking that this is the next modeler that you can just go into a recording studio and lay down some lead tracks and it's going to work. Definitely, if that's what you're looking for, definitely save up some more money. Look into something more like the HX effects or the HX Stomp, or if you really want an all-in-one recording solution, you can't afford a Helix, there's always the Podgo, and that's, you know, I did a review, put a link down to it in the description, but that's what I would really recommend over this. As far as this versus the more GE100, I think the fact that you can move the effects chain around in this one gives it the nod on that. The big thing on the GE100 though is that 3-minute looper. I mean, you can record almost a whole song on that. Well, you can if it's a short enough song, but I mean, it does have some really good quality effects in it. It's just they're harder to use, they're harder to manipulate in a live situation. So that's my thoughts on it. If you've got any questions, leave comments down below. I've got to give this pedal back to the owner. I've got a few presets that I've made for him. But definitely anything you need to know, just give me a comment. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. It's great to be back with y'all. There will be more videos coming here, more videos coming to Budget Worship. So stay tuned, and I appreciate y'all. Bye.